What is up, everybody? My name is Justin. This is the Forever Self-Employed podcast. In today's video, I have an experienced eBay reseller. It goes by the name of Jeffrey. He's a YouTube channel called Flip and Profit. Jeffrey, want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, how's it going? My name's Jeffrey Morgan. Been reselling on eBay for almost 4 years now, about 3.5, and went from doing part-time just as a hobby, and then realized I could scale it up into a real business. So just decided to try it out, and everything. It's been going good since.
Right. So how long have you been in the eBay reselling business?
About 3.5 years. I think 2016 or 17 in November. It's like 3. Yeah, this November will be 4 years again. I know that.
Damn, dude, that's what's up. And then how did you get into it originally?
I had an eBay account from back when I used to race motocross, and me and my dad used it to sell like motocross parts and stuff, buy and resell. And then I always like going to yard sales and stuff too. And then on YouTube, saw somebody flipping stuff from a yard sale on eBay, decided to go try it out, and it started working immediately. So I was pretty hooked.
Sweet. Dude, I forgot to mention that we have Tim in here as well. Tim, I'm sorry. I forgot you to introduce yourself too, bro.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I'm Tim O'Laughlin. I'm here.
Bro.
I'm here.
Right. Me and Tim talked about like kind of co-hosting this podcast just for fun, dude. Just, add another dynamic to it,
Right. And Tim, you've been selling on eBay for a little bit too, right?
Yeah, I actually started out on eBay before I even got into anything on YouTube. That was my very first video, like side hustle video, was an eBay video. Yeah.
Wow.
Come on, what were you selling, Tim?
So I started out selling mostly vinyl records. So I had a giant collection of records, which I've been collecting forever. And like you, Jeffrey, I grew up going to garage sales and stuff. So I kind of had an endearment towards yard selling just in general before I even got introduced to kind of reselling. And then I started out with a lot of vinyl because I had a lot of vinyl, I had a lot of doubles, and I even had some rare ones. So I started like looking into eBay, and I was like, oh shoot, like there's actually a demand for vinyl. And this was the end of 2018, towards the end of 2018. And then I think like the middle of 2019, around March 2019 was when I was like, hey, I might be able to offer some kind of advice, because I had a hard time figuring out the best way to ship the records. So I kind of developed my own way of doing it. So that was like one of my very first videos, was teaching people how I ship vinyl records. But so it was vinyl records. I sold books, VHSs, and DVDs that was my jam.
Sweet, man. Jeffrey pretty much sells everything, right, bro? Do you have like a specialization or anything, or do you just kind of sell whatever is profitable?
Hey, once you learn how to research something and you're already out there, whatever you find, you're gonna go ahead and look it up to see if it's worth anything anyway. So that's kind of how I play it. But yeah, man, speaking of vinyl records, I was gonna ask how you ship them, because that's one thing I never really have flipped. So that's funny.
So now I actually pay for like these mailers, but in the beginning, when it was, the budgets were tight and I was trying to make the maximum amount of profit while I built my store up to a high rated store, what I did was, now I don't want to recommend this, is probably not the best way to do it, but if you're in a pinch and you need to make it happen, I went and got the priority mailboxes, and there's flat ones. What I would do is I would tear them open, and then I would fold them in a way that it would encase the record to where it wouldn't bend or break. So I actually have a couple different videos on it. But get the priority boxes, and then I'll have to get your contact info, and I could totally walk you through. But it's a super simple way to do it. I know it's a little shady, I guess, because you're kind of stealing from the post office. But
I was is that something you can ship media mail?
So yeah, but the trick is, and here's where it gets shady, is you wrap it with brown shipping paper so they don't know.
So you cover up priority mailbox, right? No biggie. Everybody does that.
Tim, is that illegal?
I don't know if it's illegal, but it was a way for me to kind of get around the shipping as I was learning how to ship, because when I first started doing that, I didn't actually realize that you had to pay priority rates for the priority boxes. So what I did was I got a bunch of them, like, oh, these will work perfect and they're free.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a whole bunch of them. I had, I think, maybe 13 or 14 records I had to go out. So I found a way to do it. I packed all the records inside, and I delivered them, and they're like, it's like a 200 and how many ever dollars. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And they're like, and you can't ship media with priority. And I was like,
right.
Okay. So then it was just like, I had to right then and there figure out a way to make it happen. So I just decided I'll just wrap it with brown masking paper, And then it worked, and the records came, and everybody was giving me feedback on how much they liked the way that I packaged the records. So
I love it, man. Jeffrey, before we got on, you kind of mentioned that one of the questions that you get a lot was, what equipment do you need to start? So like, what equipment would you need to start an eBay reselling business?
Yeah, the biggest thing for anybody new who's wanting to get into it, you need to have a printer or some way to put shipping labels, because taking your items to the post office, you can do that, but it's going to end up costing you a lot of money. When you when you print your shipping labels through eBay, you get a discounted shipping rate. So that's the number one thing I always tell people, because I get comments on my videos all the time. They'll see me buy something and ship it for a certain price, and they said, I took this up to the post office and it was 4 times as much as in your video. What are you doing differently? So that's the biggest thing. A printer, a tape gun, a scale, of course. That's the other thing. If you're going to be shipping from home, you need a scale. And then poly mailers, different boxes, different things to put your items in to ship. And yes, I think that's mostly it. Other things would be photos, or for taking photos, maybe some lighting, some studio lighting, or a nice background. I sell pre-owned clothing a lot, so I use a yardstick to like put on the clothing when I'm measuring it, and I take pictures of that to show the people what the true size is of the clothes, because sometimes they expand or shrink and things like that. Yeah, I think that's basically about it. Box cutters.
I've always thought, like, who's buying pre-owned clothes off of eBay? Like, I've never thought about going on eBay and buying some pre-owned clothes.
People are loyal to their brands. They find something they love and they want that exact same thing every time. And so when their store quits selling it or they can't find it no more, they go to online, look for it on there.
So is that kind of what you look for whenever you go in the stores for those brand name products?
Right. There's certain brands that, I wouldn't call them high volume, because selling clothing is always a long tail item. Takes a while to get it off the shelves. But certain ones, at least for around, in Louisiana, Levi's, Wranglers, the Cinch brand, lots of Western brands. I find those a lot. So those are easy to, you don't get too much for some of them, but those are my bread and butter. And yeah, certain brands like that. And of course, you're always going to have your, Gucci and other big name brand stuff.
Have you found Gucci?
I've seen it, but it's trashed most of the time.
I had a question about, do you have any advice, like, to get to become a high-rated seller faster? Because I know some people have trouble becoming a high-rated seller. So is there any kind of shortcuts that you found along the way?
One thing is you can put maybe like some thank you cards. They make some that ask, it's the size of a business card, and it'll say like, thank you for your purchase. Please consider giving a 5-star feedback or something like that. It really helps my business go a long way. And you also put things on it like, if you have any problems, here's my email, you can personally contact me. That helps a lot, putting that in with your packages once you ship it. That seems to get lots of feedback. Other tricks are, now eBay offers best offer, rather than like when you put a price on it, it'll be buy it now or best offer. So if people are sending you best offers and you're brand new, even though they might, if somebody's lowballing you, you're not going to want to take that at all. But if they come in with a reasonable price, it might be $5 to $10 cheaper than what you're asking. If you're brand new, you can go ahead and accept that, and that's really going to please them, and they'll probably give you positive feedback.
Okay, so like volume, just kind of keep the prices competitive and just try to keep
Right. Another thing that some people do, and I've done it before in the past, but honestly, I don't think it's not good for the market, is taking like older clothing items, and putting it on a 99-cent auction. That way you'll get a lot of traffic, and then you might end up selling things that you're not really making money on, but you're probably going to get positive feedback.
Okay.
So, but yeah, like I said, that kind of drowns out the market for any other competitors. You're selling it really cheap. So
but in the beginning, it's good to try to get ahead, right? It's a good way to
exactly.
Right. So you can almost start by selling your own things, right? So you can go cheaper on the price, and then just build up your rating that way.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big tip that everyone always, a bunch of resellers push, that if you are brand new, look in your own closet, because there's definitely something you've got sitting around that you might think it's not worth anything, but that's the best way to learn how to research items. Go in your closet, start typing in, whatever Nike shoes or whatever you got into eBay, and see if it's worth something.
Right. Can you tell us how to recognize a scam? Because I was on eBay for a little while, and I feel like I got a lot of messages that were like people were trying to pay me more than what I was asking for products.
Yeah, that's always a scam. If someone sends you a best offer and it's like way more than what it's worth, that's a red flag. Another one, I sometimes I don't know. I when people send me a message, about my dad's in the hospital and this, that, and the other, I always think that's a red flag. Even if sometimes some people are probably being sincere, I take that as a red flag and I go ahead and block them. You can block bidders or people from bidding on your stuff, and then check their feedback score. You might not want to sell to anybody who's got a 1 or 0 feedback. That means they just created that count recently, and so those are red flags. But man, there's all kind of different ways people scam. I've even had people end up buying stuff for me that my return policy is like 30 days returned, but through PayPal, PayPal has, I think it's 160-day return, or 6 months basically, I think is what it is.
That's
And
great.
some people take advantage of that, and they get around going through eBay and they come back at you on PayPal claiming that you didn't send the right part or whatever.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy, man. So how did you scale this business? Obviously, you can start off and you can find a few things here and there, but you've scaled it to the point where you're making a sizable income every month.
Right. Biggest thing is learning where to source items. You got garage sales, thrift stores, flea markets, estate sales. Then you got, if you really want to, move into moving a lot of product, you could go to storage auctions, buy wholesale lots, things like that. But for me, yeah, I went out to watched a few videos on YouTube, went out to a yard sale one time, picked up a few items, and like the first thing I sold was I think it was a Hot Wheels car battery for like a little kid's toy car thing. Bought it for $1 and it sold for $40 with free shipping on eBay. Yeah, that was my first sale. So then I was like, there's something here. I got to go find more stuff like this. But as far as getting it scaled, I really relied on pre-owned clothing because I noticed there's a lot of thrift stores around here that they'll do like color tag sales. What that means is every week they'll throw some color that's 50% off. And then so you want to learn what kind of sales your thrift stores have. Go in there and ask the employees, do y'all run any sales on certain days? Some of them do it every week, some of them do it every month or something like that. And then, like I said, I figured out which brands sell for me, and I figured out which brands I could find a lot of all the time. And that's really what helped scale my business. Was the clothing and shoes. Shoes are a really good reseller too. People do buy pre-owned shoes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they
I see
stink
the
sometimes.
shoe
You gotta
rack behind
deodorize them. Do what?
you. I said we see the shoe rack behind you.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, I got the shoe rack. Have you ever tried to do the retail arbitrage with?
I have a little bit.
Have you had to find any success doing that?
Only like a few one-offs where it was like 1 or 2 products. Of course, the biggest thing with retail arbitrage is you want to find high volume. You want to find a lot of items that you can buy all at once, go make one listing for, and just jack the quantity up to like 50. And
yeah,
so then when you might only be making $4 or $5, but if you've got that many and it's a high seller, then you'll make your money over time. But no, I haven't had any luck with that. And I've tried it a little bit at times, but just sticking to what works already for me. And yeah, I'd definitely like to reach out into that a little bit more in the future though.
Nice. Besides like garage sales and thrift stores, is there any other places that we can get product to sell? Or is that
Flea
the main two?
markets. Yeah, those are the main 2: garage sales and thrift stores. Flea markets. I also there's
I'm connected.
like a green recycling place around here. It's called Washita Green. Tim, you having problems over there, bro?
I don't know. I lost you guys for like
Right.
5
Did you
seconds.
blacked out for a second? You're back there.
That was
Yeah,
weird,
it's all
man.
good.
I'm hardline, man. What the
But yeah, there's also this company that puts on recycling events. Man, I love going to it. We were planning to go to it. I was planning on getting you up here to go to it too before all this crazy stuff happened.
Right. Dude, that was gonna be a good trip. This trip literally ruined my 2 collabs. It was with both of you guys, actually.
Right.
Yeah,
Ruined
I
both
was
of
supposed
those.
to fly out. When was it booked? March.
Yeah, March. Yeah, I think it was March, right?
Right.
Yeah, March. Yeah, 23rd or something. It was like down to the wire the day before I canceled.
Because I was talking to Jeffrey. I was talking to Jeffrey about it. I was like, dude, they said that this was going to last 2 weeks. They said, you know, and now we're going on like 3 months.
Right. I know.
It's crazy.
Insane. It's crazy.
Anyway, so Jeffrey, what was the biggest profit that you ever made, like on one product?
This would probably be the answer for the biggest profit I've made and like the craziest thing I've ever sold. At a yard sale in a garage, this dusty old garage, I found a paratrooper harness that was from 1942 was when it was made. It wasn't used in World War II in the war, but it was used later on in 1946. It had a logbook in it, and it was used for just training out at Goodfellow Field in Texas. It had it all in this logbook. It was awesome. This thing was really dirty, really beat up, but it was an awesome piece. And yeah, I got it for $10 at a garage sale.
The logbook probably really made it the valuable.
Right. Yeah, it was really nice. It had the guy's name in there too that it was assigned to and stuff like that. So
how did you know what to sell something like that for?
So what I did was I put it on auction. I just put the shipping at where it would cover my cost of the item plus the shipping of the item, and then started at a 99-cent auction. And at the end of the day, it ended up going for $374. Yeah.
Cool. So you made $360.
Right. Yeah, basically. And I also did check the buyer. I wanted to see where it was going to. Right. And this person had an account that they sell on, and they sell memorabilia, World War memorabilia. They had other like nice suits. You could tell this person knows how to restore that stuff. So I'm glad to know it was going to a good place too. I'm sure he probably has flipped it for a couple thousand by this point.
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever seen the dude that eats? He does reviews on MREs, like old MREs and stuff.
No, I haven't seen that.
Tim, have you seen that?
I think I've seen one like a long time ago, or I might have just heard you tell me. I don't know. Sometimes wires get crossed, and I'm not sure if I've seen it or if I just heard about it so much, you know, that I
just the military thing made me think about it. But this dude will literally try MREs from like the 1920s. Like he'll open them up and go through them. Anyway, so that was the most expensive item that you ever sold as well?
Yeah, that's for sure the most profit I made, and yeah, the most expensive item. Other than that, I'm trying to think what else was the biggest. Man, really good high profit items are DVD recorders. They can go anywhere from like $150 to $250. Some of them are actually even worth like thousands. One time I was doing research. Yeah. At that point, when they're that much, they also do tons of other things, dubbing and all types of different things. But yeah, one day I was doing research on it, and I found, yeah, if you happen to go out to some yard sales and you see a brand new DVD recorder, could be worth thousands of dollars.
Right. Dude, how cool is that?
What do you mean DVD recorder? Do you mean like DVD to VHS or recording on to a
it'll do like both, or it'll work just like a VHS records things. Like you play it, you know, how back in the day you would tape a show, play it on TV, you can do that same thing. Or you can transfer VHS to DVD. Some of them are like that. Some of them there are just strictly DVD recorders. Yes.
Okay. I wonder if that's where all the bootleg DVDs came from, devices like that.
Probably, maybe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good stuff. So, Jeffrey, about how many products do you sell per month?
Man, before all this crap happened, we were right at about a little bit 200 a month, a little under 200, trying to get over that hump of 200 items a month. But yeah, right now it's done come down fairly, getting over like 120 right now. So
wow. So how many listings do you have then?
We're right at about 800 right now. Before all this happened, I plateaued right at 1,000. About a year ago, I hit like my goal of trying to make like 6,000 a month on here, and you know, having 1,000 active listings. And by this time, I thought that I would have done double that, but I've definitely like plateaued. I've been trying to focus on finding more high volume items to scale up on, because like I said, clothing can be good bread and butter, but it is a long tail item. So man, I was really looking forward to the yard sales this year. Go out there and bust it hard, because that's where you find crazy electronic items, just odding in things that sometimes they're worth good money. Sometimes that's where you find those DVD recorders, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
We need some good DVD recorders.
Right.
How do you stay organized selling that many items a month or even having those on hand?
I have an inventory system. I like to use plastic tubs or bins with lids on them. I'm sure people know what I'm talking about. Storage bins, and I label them like B1, B2, B3, and then so whenever I have like a electronic item or something, let's just say like a car stereo, there's a spot when you're making your listing on eBay that's just for you to put your own custom label for that item. So if I'm going to go put that stereo inside B1, then I'll put B1 on that listing, and then once that listing sells, it'll show me. I'll be able to see, oh, okay, this thing's in B1, and I go find it. So
it's a pretty good system. Did it take you a little while to develop that, or you kind of just?
Yeah, it was kind of common sense, really, for me. I don't know. I was just thought about it one day, and I was like, oh, that'll be easy. I don't know.
Do you have to pay for storage, or do you have everything like at your home?
Yeah, it's all at home for me right now. I live on a house that's right next to a lake, so it's up on stilts. So the whole bottom floor is all for storage. It's pretty nice.
See, that's kind of why I ended up getting out of it, because I was starting to I live in a smaller house, like 1,100 square feet. And then like, this is my studio. I mean, it's not very big.
Right.
So I actually built a shed, and that quickly filled up. And I was just like, man, this is getting out of control. And then I had just started doing the vending machines, and plus I run a paint business too. So I had to just kind of leave eBay for the super high ticket items, and then not really expand my inventory of smaller items, because I had just too much.
Yeah.
So I was curious.
Tim's actually been doing something really cool with regards to reselling. Tim, you want to tell him what you've been doing, bro?
With what? What do you mean?
How you've been running around and like you'll try to find the free stuff on Facebook Marketplace?
Oh yeah, so yeah, I'm sure Jeffrey does that too. So usually, if I have some free time, I'll go in the mornings. You check and look just all of the sites, the OfferUp, 5 Mile, Let Go, etc. And you look for the free section. And if you find something for free, I'll just go pick it up. And then this time of year, like you were saying, right now during all of this stuff, without there being yard sales, a lot of people are resorting to just putting stuff out in front of their house. And typically it says free. And anytime I see anything that says free, especially furniture like nightstands and things of that nature, typically sell really quick, and I'll pick it up. And the cool thing about it, using Marketplace to resell something you picked up for free, is even if you put it up for $5, you're going to make a quick $5. And what'd you do? You just picked it up off the street. Now, I have a system. If I don't sell it in the next few days, then I just put free and I leave it on my front yard, and somebody comes and picks it up, so someone else's hustle if I can't flip it. But one day I did pretty good. I think I made a little over $100. There was just one weekend where people were cleaning out their houses, and I found a couple different nightstands, and I think a chair and a high chair, and all of the stuff was gone within 2 days. It was amazing.
Wow. Yeah, that's one thing I left out. Facebook Marketplace is a good way to find inventory, and as well as just going around picking up stuff. Because you're right. A lot of people, let's just go ahead and say the rich neighborhoods, they like leaving their stuff out by the road because whatever community they live in, they have a service that comes by and picks that type of stuff up. So there's already people out there doing that in the first place, and yeah, I see it. There's lots of resellers that do that as well.
Jeffrey, what would you say your biggest mistake was in the reselling game?
Biggest mistake, probably shipping mistakes. Definitely shipping mistakes, miscalculating stuff. I try to offer like a flat rate shipping.
Right.
You can do calculated shipping on eBay, but what that'll end up doing is the buyer doesn't. If after the buyer buys it, and then you go to ship it, and it's a really high price, you might, then they have to pay for that, and they didn't really expect all that. So I like to leave it a flat rate, and I've definitely been bitten sometimes by underestimating how much it was going to cost me to ship something. So
it kind of ate into your profit margin.
Yeah, it kind of ate into everything. Yeah. But that's just a mistake you're gonna make. You learn from that, and you realize, okay, if you have to package the thing up, weigh it out, go to a shipping calculator or something to figure out exactly how much it's gonna cost to ship it before you list it, or put it calculated shipping.
That does sound kind of annoying though, to have to weigh each item before to set the shipping costs.
Right. It's only happened on like certain one-off items, certain items that I took a risk on. They were way bigger than I should have been messing with. to begin with, and so all the stuff that I mess with on the daily, I already can, I know how much it's going to cost to ship most of the time.
Yeah, sweet, man. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to start in the reselling business?
Biggest thing is make yourself a list of what you want to go out there and look for. If it's, clothing or shoes, make a list of certain brands that you want to look for. And you can find that on YouTube or just Googling it. Look for, top 10 shoes to resell, top 10 clothes to resell, top 10 electronics to resell. I've got tons of videos like that too. But write it down. Make yourself a list. And when you go in there, only look for things on that list. If you do, want to look around after you look for things on that list, I would, wait until you go through the list so you don't get overwhelmed. Because if you go in without a list, you might just get overwhelmed at how much stuff there is.
Right.
And yeah, definitely, us guys, we probably ain't used to shopping from one rack all the way to the next like girls are. They seem to pick it up instantly. They love to just go in and spend hours looking through the thrift store. But yeah, I really had to learn some patience of start at the beginning of a rack, and I sit there and go through every single item all the way through the store. And you end up coming up with a systematic way too of like how you like to go through the store. I usually like to go straight to the electronic sections, then I'll check the shoes, then I'll start going through the clothing racks. And always keep an eye out for the employees bringing out new stuff too.
Yeah.
Is there a certain day that they bring out all their stuff?
Most of the time it's just random. They're just constantly, yeah. Some of them, there's just one. They do it all day. They got they got these college kids working round clock. There's always somebody out on the floor with a buggy filling up the shelves.
That's funny, bro. So how long does it typically take to sell something? Like, does each product kind of have like its own shelf life, or is there an average?
The best way to answer that would be probably you need to know how to research something. So if you have a smartphone, which everybody does now, download the eBay app, and then whenever you come across something, just type it into the search bar on eBay like you would if you were trying to look for that item on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
And then once those results come up, the next thing you need to do, don't even look at the items that come up. You need to go to the filters and then go to completed items. And it's going to show you what items have sold or haven't sold in the past 3 months. And then so if you want to know how fast something's going to sell, you're going to want to look at the date of which, how recent have this item sold. And if you see a bunch of them that's, maybe 10 or 20 have sold that day, the day before that, the day before that, then that's a high volume item. It's going to sell really fast.
Dang, man. It just go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to say, in reference to the clothes, like I had a question. I remember when I was doing it, I was looking for clothes. Sometimes I would find something I was pretty convinced it was worth money, but finding the right value for it was hard. And is there a way to check? Are there like certain numbers on the tags or something that will help you search it? Or you just kind of just guess black Led Zeppelin shirt? Like, is there a...
Right. There are on certain brands, like say Wrangler for one. You can always find the tag to Wrangler jeans behind the zipper. And then at the top, the most common ones are 13 WMZ. That's their cowboy cut Wrangler jeans. But yeah, you put in that number and a lot of them will come up. And then there's like, I think Carhartt or other ones, they'll have a spot where it says RN. And I think that stands for retail number or something like that. But that number will come up too. And if you can't find it, if you put in that number on eBay and you can't find it, I like taking that number and go to Google. And then Google will show you, it'll pull up the item, and then you can find all the keywords for that item, whether it's like a taper leg jean, straight leg jean. So then take all that new information over to eBay, and you'll most likely find a better match that way. But yeah, if it's not, like you said, you're just black Levi's 505.
Yeah,
whatever,
and then you're like, there's nothing,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes I don't find matches for the exact clothing item, but I just look for something that's similar,
So, like, with regards to advice for a beginner, because if I was going to start this up and I was walking into a thrift store, I wouldn't even know what to look for. I know you said kind of have like your list of things that you want to look for, but like, let's say I'm looking through the shirts and I find like a designer or something. Like, what is there should almost be like a checklist. So do I look it up on eBay first to see what they're priced at? Then I look to see how quickly they resell. Do you have like a checklist of things that you could kind of go through, Jeffrey?
Yeah, that's basically it. Find out the brand, what keywords you need to use to search it on eBay, and then, like I said, first thing after that is go to the completed items, and the way the completed items will work, the prices will be green when they have sold. If it's not green, that means it has not sold. And then so yeah, I'll go through that. I want to see a lot of green. If there's half and half or more unsolds than sold, well then that item's not selling that well. So I don't want to pick that up. But then after that, if there is a lot of greens, then yeah, the next thing I look at is the date to see how fast I could expect to sell it. And yeah, that's basically it. And then you just want to make sure there's not a ton of competition. That just goes back to seeing unsolds,
Hey Justin, also the eBay has on the eBay app, it has a barcode scanner and a picture. So sometimes you could even take a picture of something and it'll have an image library it'll search against. And sometimes you can find it that way too. So like say you're in a clearance section of like Walgreens or something and you see some headphones, you're like, hey, I've seen these before. I'm pretty sure. You scan it. And like Jeffrey's saying, you check the completed sold listings, which is just a filter toggle. You toggle it on and then it gives you that list. So I use that a lot for me, especially when I was selling DVDs and VHS. That's why I really liked doing the media, because it was just boom, boom. And I could go to the thrift store and I was buying VHSs for 10 cents a piece. If I'd go in on a Thursday, they were 10 cents a piece. So I would literally get, and what I would do is I would lot them up, because one VHS, and I forget the exact numbers now, but it costs about the same to ship 2 or 3 as it would to ship 1. Because with media mail, what I want to mention earlier, it's not exact weight. Usually there's like a window. So as long as you're inside of that window of weight, the price is pretty much the same. So after a while, you get the hang of like, oh, this is about 2 pounds. I know it's going to cost me about $3 or whatever to ship, So, so you can ship 3 DVDs. Like at one point I had old Star Wars VHSs, but it was like a trilogy, and it wasn't even the old ones. It was like the newer one, and it was like 1, 2, and 3. And I think I sold it for $20. And I mean, it was 30 cents that I spent on inventory, and I can do that a lot, and shipping is really easy with media too.
Yeah. Oh man, one thing I've noticed with that, my bad, I just wanted to comment on the barcode scanner. Man, one thing I've noticed though is you do want to watch out. Sometimes I've had it happen a few times. I use the barcode scanner, and some item, it'll come up, and there might be only a few items to choose from. But then if you take what that item is and go type it in, there'll be like a bunch more listings come up. I've had it burn me like 1 or 2 times, but most of the time, especially for like the media, like you said, it pulls up everything. But some certain items, I don't know if the person who made that listing didn't put in that UPC code, then it doesn't pull it up. Which I wish they fix that.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Okay, so I'm trying to find like so for beginners, what's that first product we should start off with? You mentioned clothes is how you scaled. Would you recommend clothes for beginners as well?
Yeah, for sure. Probably because it's very easy to find. You can go to a thrift store. Most people have thrift stores, and that's what they're going to have the most of. So,
right.
But other than that, it would be consumer electronics. Just little odd and end gadget things that you can find.
I posted an iPad one time and a clicker, and I think they ended up selling, dude. But then I was like, I think they sold after like a week or 2, and I kind of lost that steam to sell them, and then I forgot about them, and then people were like submitting me for whatever, dude. No. I think I got in trouble with eBay.
You got reported.
Yeah, dude. Because I was trying to do it, but then I got confused, and I was like, I mean, it was just weird, dude. I don't know. eBay's weird for me.
Jeffrey, I had a quick question. Do you think say you have a high ticket item and say there is some competition? I had done this in the past with some big ticket items. What I did was I would just bump the price up a little bit, but then offer to pay the difference to a charity to kind of stand out from them.
Right.
So have you ever tried that strategy?
No, I haven't messed with that, but that sounds like a good way to do it. Yeah.
Because, if it's $20, I'll say, hey, I'll sell for $30 and I'll donate 10 to charity, but that way you're kind of setting yourself out from all the other $20 ones that are there or whatever, or $100.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. No, I've never tried that. Worked out pretty good though.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I've had something that I'm sitting on, I'm like, man, I need to move it, but there's a lot of competition. Then I'll just put the charity because it gets the little bow next to it, so it definitely stands out as the red, or I think it's red or green, but it says the proceeds go to charity. So even if it's more, the person buying it might be willing to just, well, I'll buy this one because some of it's going to charity. I mean, I could buy any one of these, but since this one's going towards a good cause, a little bit more, but pay for it.
You pull it on their heart a little bit, huh?
Yeah, pull those heartstrings, hey, whatever you got to do sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Whether you got to wrap
cool.
it in a brown bag or pull the heartstrings, whatever you got to do, bro.
And there's hundreds of charities you can choose from, too. I mean, so.
Yeah, I've looked at it before. No, I've never messed with it.
I was just going to ask, so when do you know that you need more product? Do you like to keep a certain level of product? And once you kind of go below that, what happens if you can't find anything else to resell?
Man, it's really just all about opportunity, because sometimes you'll be going out and it's dry and you can't find inventory. So when you do start to find lots of inventory, you want to get as much as you can. So as long as the wallet can handle it, you grab it.
Right. That's awesome. What's been selling most over the course of this past couple months?
Clothing. That's really, I haven't been able to source too much. So any good essential electronic stuff that I had, man, I've emptied out a few bins this past couple months of the electronics. I barely have any. Been trying to stock that back up for the last few days. So yeah, it was mostly just all my clothing, because I have a little over, I think around like 600 clothing items. So most of my inventory is clothing. So clothing and shoes, yeah.
We kind of talked about this earlier, but K&L Gumball wants to know, how is the business doing with everything going on?
Like I was saying, for me, it definitely tanked a good bit. The first month or so wasn't like anything changed, but man, these last two, simply just because I haven't been able to put anything onto eBay. If you want to get lots of traction or lots of sales, then you got to constantly be putting up new listings, and that's why my sales are slow. It's these past last week. Finally got to go to some thrift stores again, and man, yeah, the sales are starting to climb back up. So you got to put in the work if you want the sales.
Yeah, don't know it, man. What's the worst part about the reselling business?
Crazy people.
What you mean?
Crazy people. Just like off the wall, start blaming you and accusing you for what other sellers have done wrong to them. You'll always have somebody trying to scam you or something, and so you'll start getting some crazy messages. You didn't put this in the shipment, or I don't know. I've had one guy didn't pay attention that he bought some pants and they had shrunken, and I put in the description and everything. There's also pictures to show the actual true size, but apparently he didn't go all the way through the pictures, because he messaged me afterwards, and said that they were smaller than the tag size, and I'm like, I know, because that's what it says in the listing. You need to go. They were at the end of the pictures, and he started accusing me of going back and adding to the pictures after it's sold. I'm like, you can't do that. Like, it's not possible. eBay won't let you. Yeah. He even left like negative feedback, and then so I had to go call eBay, and they went through the messages, saw what was going on, and went and removed his feedback, and I blocked him from there on. But yeah. Stuff like that.
I was just gonna say, what kind of recourse can you take on that? So, like, if he wants to send it back or something, can you kind of just explain it to eBay?
I offered him a refund, right? I told him, no problem. If you want to send it back, I can give you a refund. He just wanted to fight. He just wanted to argue.
Yeah, some people are like that for sure.
Right. That's all.
Yeah, I've eaten a couple too like that. They're like, oh, this isn't a kind of, because with records, there's a pretty specific grading system to the record and to the sleeve and everything. And I had one that was like near mint, but I even marked it way below near mint. And she's telling me, it's, you didn't. So I was like, well, send it back. It's fine. I mean, send it back and I'll refund you. Never, blah, blah, blah. She's giving me a hard time. Well, you need to pay me to send it back. And I'm like, that's not how it works, But I eventually was just like, you know what? Keep the record. It's fine. Keep the record.
Right.
I was like so sick of dealing with the messages and everything. I was just like, whatever. Like, I'm so over it. And I didn't know how it would affect my store either. I was just like, I don't really want to do a refund. Like, just whatever, just keep it. I mean, it was like a Mary Lou Harris or something. Like, so it wasn't anything like important to me. to my
That's
culture.
probably the worst, when it's something like $15 and they want to complain.
Yeah.
About,
it costs
you know,
$250 or $275 to ship it back. I'm like, just ship
Right.
it back. She wanted me to pay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, just keep it.
exactly. Just go ahead and sometimes you end up refunding them anyways. Tell them keep it, refund them so they don't bother you.
Yeah, so you don't have to deal with the headache. Yeah, that was my biggest headache. Oh, another headache I had, I don't know if you've ever ran into this, it might be good for the beginners too to keep in mind, is you can't really shut your store down. I know that there was a certain point where I had to be away on an emergency, and I wasn't home for a couple of weeks, and I was unable to ship stuff out, and that really caused me a lot of problems. I was like trying to shut my store down. So what I ended up having to do was just cancel all my listings because I didn't pay to have a store.
You had to end them all. Yeah,
I had to just end them all. Yeah. So is there any way around that?
So now for they have a vacation setting, but that basically does nothing but tell them that you're not able to take their, give them service, but it doesn't change anything. If they buy it and you have your handling on one day or something, you're still required to ship it that next day. So I really don't understand the vacation setting at all. But what I do is they have updated the way that they set up like their shipping and your payment information, like your PayPal accounts and stuff like that. They put it in these policies. So basically it's a template. I can set up a template for like first class shipping, and I do one business day handling regularly, but I have a second template made that's first class shipping but with 5-day handling. That way if I go out of town, what I'll do is I can go and hit a little checkbox for every listing that's first class or with that template on it. I can just go highlight that template and change it to the other template that's got 5 business day handling. So that's what I do right now. But yeah, if I end up stuck somewhere longer than 5 days, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So did you have any help navigating eBay and kind of all these little quirks? You just kind of learned along the way?
Yeah, just watching YouTube and learn along the way. There is a eBay community. Once you have like a store subscription, I believe you have access to that. Some of the stuff I think is already open to the public if you just Google eBay community or whatever. But there's lots of advice on there, lots of help. Usually, any problem you come across, someone has already come across it, and it's on the internet somewhere explaining how to fix it. So that's basically how you get through it. But yeah, there's still every day something new that pops up. Right now, they're going into this a new payment plan. They're like trying to step away from PayPal and take over, PayPal fees and things like that. They don't. They're requiring us to have our own bank accounts away from PayPal to end up paying for our eBay fees and our shipping fees. It's about to get really screwed up, to be honest.
Why is that?
I believe it's just because they used to own PayPal. eBay used to own PayPal, so they used to make those fees. When you make a sale through PayPal, PayPal takes a fee. That's how they make their money. Yeah. So that's the one thing I can think is they want that fee back.
3%.
They want that money back. Right, exactly. So I don't know. They're just complicating things even more, and it's making people go to some of these other sites, Poshmark and Mercari and things like that.
Wow.
Amazon.
Is eBay the only site that you like? Is that the main site that you sell on, or do you sell on other sites?
I've been
cross-list
wanting to dip my toes, but I really just been. I'm a subscriber of the idea that I want to become an expert on eBay before I try to delve into anything else. But honestly, the way it's been going with this stuff, I'm starting to think maybe I'm missing out, and I do need to try Poshmark or other things like that. But I do worry about cross-listing. That's another thing that's been holding me back, because if eBay finds your listings over on Poshmark, they'll suspend you and stuff like that. And
really? Why is that?
Yeah, because they don't want no competition like that. They don't want, or what it is that they don't want you to end up selling it on Poshmark and then someone buys it on eBay before you can go and take it down. And then so now it's bad business on them. It's going to create a bad taste in that person's mouth, and that person's just going to blame eBay. They're not going to care about you, the seller. They just look at it as a bad experience on eBay. So that's why they try to do that, minimize that.
Can you just say that you have 2 of an item now?
Say again? That you have 2 of them? Yeah, for sure. If it was something that was multiple quantity, but I don't know. Like I say, I've never done it, so there's a lot of people that do. I know a few of them that have been suspended. Yeah, I know some of them that have been suspended and they keep doing it. So I don't know. I need to go ask them what the secrets are. But yeah, no, I hadn't tried it yet.
So Jeffrey, what do you do with the stuff that doesn't sell, bro?
Eventually just mark it down, put it on sale, try to at least get some of my money back. And good hope to get use that to get good feedback. But if not, I've taken it off eBay and go and put it in my own yard sale. My mom will do a yard sale usually every year sometime, so I'll just carry it over there and get rid of it that way. Yeah,
I love sales.
If not, though, I'll just go donate it somewhere.
Sweet, man. Do you have like a sweet spot of what you like to pay for certain things? Like as far as clothing goes, like do you not touch it if it's over this price, or is it just case by case?
Yeah, it's pretty much case by case, depending on how much value the item has. But I would say I'm pretty spoiled when it comes to clothing because my thrift stores do pretty good prices around here compared to others that I see on YouTube and stuff. And even when I've been out of town sourcing in other places like Texas, there'll be some item that I'm used to paying $3 for, but they're charging $6, and I want to pass it up. But most people, that's what they're already paying to begin with, and they're able to make profit off of it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just case by case.
Well, the crazy thing is the cost of living, right? So like obviously our thrift stores would be less than thrift stores in California. However, whenever you sell online, you're allowed to sell to everyone, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that is a tricky thing. One time I went to a few garage sales in Texas, and I was hoping that I would see better stuff and the same kind of prices around here, but everyone was trying to get their money back. It was nuts to me. Everyone, I don't know,
that's how it is out here.
Right.
That's how it is where I live too. Same.
Man, it really depends on where you live on like what kind of items you might find. If you want to get into reselling and you live in a state or in an area that is very like highly designated to retire in, that people want to move to and retire, and you can find some killer stuff if you go check out the thrift stores and stuff like that.
Why? Because
I mean, it's very morbid, but those people end up dying and their family goes and donates it. That's what happens. So,
dude,
I mean,
heavy, bro.
If we're being technical, that's where most of the things come from.
That's heavy, bro. We kind of touched on it earlier. You mentioned that these the DVD players were some of the best stuff to sell on eBay. But what else is really good to sell?
Yeah, to get into like electronics, Polaroid cameras are always a good one. Car stereos, and I'm not just talking about like aftermarket. Actually, the stock radios that you find, man, those are really good sellers, and oftentimes they're worth more than some of these aftermarket radios because after years go on, there's mechanics and things that want them because it brings more value to the car to resell it. So that's a good one. Hand massagers. What do they call those? Percussion massagers. No, like the electric ones that have like like the two little knobs on it. It's like a full body massager. It looks like a hand, like a back scrubber, like in the bathroom,
I know that.
I mean,
like laptop chargers and like those power converters, right? DC power converters are really valuable as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can sell them a lot, man. Since the lockdown, they've been selling like crazy because everyone needs, they're breaking out their old laptops and stuff and finding out that their power adapters don't work. But I sell a lot of those. You can usually find them for $1 or $2 at thrift stores and yard sales.
Just like random chargers?
Just like the charger you use for your laptop, just like
HP chargers are really good one. Printer chargers as well.
What if you don't know what it goes to?
It has a model number on it. So usually the people that are looking for them, they know what model number they're looking for.
Right. Who would have thought, man?
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeff.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of my last questions is it as easy to sell? Is it as easy to do eBay reselling as Gary Vee makes it look?
I mean, when you got 16 people working in the background, I'm sure it is probably easy for him. But no, seriously, to go out and find that stuff, it really is that easy. You just got to go out and look. once you teach yourself how to research items, which I explained earlier about going to the filters and going to completed items. Yeah, just go out and look. You'll find something that's worth money, and it'll blow your mind. But after that, that's when things get tough. Knowing how to make your listing, knowing how to title your listing,
Right.
what the description, taking pictures. You got to take pictures of it all.
Can I ask one question real quick? Have you ever passed on an item because you just weren't sure, and then like to this day it haunts you?
Let's see. I'm not sure.
Because I remember it would give me so much anxiety. I'm like, I know this is worth, but I can't find it. But I'm like, if I had more time, but it's like a high ticket item, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend the $50 if I can't get my money back.
Right. I can't recall any right now, but I can recall times when I pass it up, and then I realized like, oh, I think that might have been worth something. You go back the next day, and luckily it was still there. I had some stamps, like rubber stamps that were had hockey prints on them or something, and I passed them up one day, and went back the next day. They were only asking like $1, and yeah, they were worth like $25, and it was a simple little first class shipping. But yeah, other than that, microwave plates, turntables. I remember I used to pass those up, but surprisingly, sometimes those can be worth money.
What? Microwave plate?
Yeah, just the glass plate that goes in it.
How do you know what microwave it goes to?
Well, you measure it. Measure how big it is. You can put that in the listing, and then most of them have some kind of number on it somewhere. A lot of them be like, Y and some numbers or something. But
dude, everything, Justin, has some kind of markings on it. Like everything. Like if now you'll probably start looking at stuff and be like, oh, because then you could like type up yellow, book or whatever it is, and then just find whatever. Just type in everything you see on it. Because typically somebody else is going to do the exact same thing, and then eventually the system puts it all together.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Once it gets enough sales and enough people have copied what that first person did, then now everyone's identifying it by that weird number.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dude, eBay is a crazy animal.
It is an animal for sure.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. It's different every day.
Right. Well, Jeffrey, that's all my questions. Tim, you got anything else, man?
No, I know I came in late, but is this your full-time deal?
Yeah, I spend most of my time doing this. Other than that, picking up pressure washing jobs and doing like ceramic tile for a guy that I know.
We did a tile floor collab. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, that was you. Okay, that's right.
Ceramic tile, right?
Oh, snibble.
Whenever things get slow, like man, I was blessed to come across like 3 or 4 jobs during all this pandemic. So,
well, I'll tell you what,
I didn't have no eBay to do. Busted out on that.
Start telling them you can paint too, and I'll give you my phone number, and I'll walk you through if you ever get any paint jobs, man.
Yeah.
Funny.
Huh. Man, painting, I don't know if I could do painting. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you had somebody to walk you through, so it was nice and enjoyable and easy. The process was easy.
Yeah.
Dakota says he sold a used book for $50 that he bought for $25.
Yeah, dude. I almost seen it in real time too, because we're on like a thread together. So.
What kind of book was that? Do you know what book it was?
I think it was like a textbook, like college textbook.
Yeah, textbooks are good sellers. There's lots of people that'll find textbooks and they hold out for what they call like textbook season. I think it's in August and January. Yeah. They say in January it picks back up too after Christmas.
After Christmas, because everybody needs their books. Finals are coming. Yeah.
That's right. Semester, right?
Semester, yep. Exactly.
Books is a good way to get started. If you there's also a lot of people that sell books sell on Amazon, and because they have a better way of like, I don't know what the word to use it, keeping their data on stuff like that. You can sell you can see what are high sellers, and they make like these book scanners. You can buy these devices to they come, it's got some app with it you can download on your phone, and you can sit there and just scan books, scan those barcodes, and it'll quickly go through. And you can like, I've heard of people, I haven't done this, but I've heard of people, you can even like set up certain like data in it. Like if it comes up and it's worth this much money, then it'll stop and show you. But if not, it just goes on through it, waiting for you to scan the next one.
Crazy.
And there's a lot of people that start out doing that, and they use Amazon's FBA program. That's a fulfillment by Amazon, and you can ship your items to Amazon, and for extra cost, an extra percentage that you have to pay them. They'll once that item sells, they'll ship it to the customer for you. So a lot of people use that to make money. But if I get into the FBA side, that's definitely where I'm going to start. Go get me a book scanner like those nerds.
Dakota was saying that the app is Scout IQ.
Right, Scout IQ, yeah, it's a good one.
And the book he sold was a biography for some lady.
Crazy. People know what they want. You can never underestimate your customer, man, because you never know where they live. You don't know if they live near a bookstore. You don't know if they live near you don't know if they get it. I mean, I don't know. Like, because some of the stuff I've sold and I show my friends, and they're just like, who wants that? And I'm like, you don't know? Like, I don't know, but who knows? There's people all over.
Tim knows all about Amazon reselling, right, Tim?
Amazon?
Yeah.
I never did Amazon.
You never did Amazon? Oh, eBay. Okay, never mind. Dude, Tim let me in on a tip, dude, whenever all this stuff was going on, bro.
You didn't jump on it.
I'm not going to make him talk about it, but.
Yeah.
It was in the very beginning when everything started cracking off, and, you're out scanning, and something pops up, and you're like, wait a second.
What? Yeah.
And then it was like one, I'm like, Justin. And he's like, oh, I'm cool. I hate eBay. I'm like, all right.
No, dude, I went to Lowe's. You want to tell him what it was?
So in the very, very beginning, it was the M95 masks, right? And it was when it first started. And then, I was able to find some. So I got a bunch. And I sold a bunch. And then everything got real hairy. So I was like, well, I'm not selling these anymore. So I pulled them down. And it just was weird, but I was on top of it before it was like a pandemic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Before it got really bad. I do the same thing.
Scanning like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Get all of them. That's why I was asking about the arbitrage earlier, because I've had a little success with it.
Yeah, I went out and looked, but couldn't find any. But that's something else to keep a lookout. Sometimes there's trending items. There's also apps that do that. Find these trending items that all of a sudden are selling like crazy online because they sold out in stores locally at some places. Like I remember, I think 2 years ago during Christmas time, Monopoly Millennium or something like that. There was a new Monopoly game for millennials. There were so many selling a day, and you could go buy it if you had them at your Walmart. You could get them for like $20-$25, and they were selling for $80 on eBay. So yeah,
that's the crazy. So there's apps that'll tell you kind of what's trend. There's a lot of automated software and additional extension.
Yeah, there is, and I mean, some people live by that. They're charging a good bit a month to get that data, and but yeah, I remember the Bearded Picker. It's a YouTuber that during that Monopoly time, man, he went and got went across the state.
I watched that video, dude. That's how I found out about the Monopoly.
Right. He found hundreds of those Monopoly games and sold 140 of them overnight or something like that. It was a crazy amount. Made a couple $1,000s. It was that Monopoly game, Monopoly board game, Monopoly Millennials, I think is what it was called.
And they were selling much more than what.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, those Funko Pops. Those Funko Pops were a big deal, too, when they first started happening. People were, if you find a certain one that's just got high volume, they'll go to every Rite Aid, every CVS, every store they can find it at across their state and buy up every one. That's what I was, you're talking about retail arbitrage. That's what, because then you can make one listing, and then it's the more and more you find, you just jack up that quantity. So it's super easy to scale that way. You're not wasting your time taking photos for every item and stuff like that.
Dude, that's awesome.
But you got to stay on top of that stuff. I've definitely. There's also Facebook groups that they'll share what they call a BOLO item. Be on the lookout. So if they're finding items at their Walmarts that they're able to buy for 15 and flip for 45, they'll share it on some of these private Facebook groups.
I always thought BOLO meant buy one, list one, because sometimes it'd be buy one, get one free. So I figured you'd buy one and then you'd list the other one, and you could fudge the price so you get some money back or whatever.
Yeah, be on the lookout, right?
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah, Dakota said Funko sell crazy on Amazon.
Right.
What is that?
Little toys.
Yeah,
Little
little
fat head
Funko, but like
toys.
little fat head toys.
So
You
it
find
was
them
a
a lot at,
way
like,
for, I know a little bit about it, and what it was it was a way for fans to get their favorite character. So like for instance, like Papa Smurf can hang out with Deadpool. You know what I mean? They're the
Yeah, Guy
same.
Fieri.
It's like the same universe. You know what I mean? I guess.
Yeah. And there's crazy ones. I think there's like was there a Steve Jobs one, or was there somebody else? Who am I thinking of?
Probably
I
was.
saw one.
wouldn't
Yeah, I
put
saw
it
one the
past
other day. Guy Fieri. I was like, are you kidding? They even got a Guy Fieri Funko
Wow.
Pop. Yeah.
That's wild. Well, look, man, that's all that I got, Jeffrey. Do you have anything else, Tim, that you want to ask?
No, man. I think no, I can't think of anything.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, you want to share anything else, bro, before we get out of here?
I think we covered it all. Like I said, if anybody's interested, I got tons of videos, how-tos, shipping videos, top 10 items to resell videos, stuff like that. So if you're a beginner, that's kind of what I try to focus on, sharing my the best things that I've learned when I was, trying to figure things out and share them with you to make things easier. So,
Right, man. Tim, you want to screen share real quick?
I was just showing you, the Funko Pops. They're just like these little toys,
right.
Oh, I got you. So who is that supposed to be?
I don't know. I typed in
Bobby.
Steve Jobs. Look like him. Bobby. I don't know who Bobby is.
Yeah.
Dude, how cool is this
self-
software, bro?
It said the self-made Wall Street millionaire. That's who Bobby is.
Is Bobby? I don't know.
Sweet. Well, look, Jeffrey, thanks so much for coming on. Tim, thanks so much for coming
Yeah, dude.
on too,
Thanks for inviting me, man. I'm glad I could come in.
Yeah, this was awesome. This was great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Everybody make sure y'all go check out Tim and Jeffrey's channel. I'll leave y'all linked down in the description. And yeah, man. Thank y'all so much, man.
Cool, yeah. Thank you for having me.
Until next time, hustle hard and get that
Get that money.
Keep flipping.
And keep flipping.
Keep flipping.